So we have, as I say, the SA, the Sturmabteilung Stormtroopers. You can see here, one has been deputized. He's alongside a German policeman. They've got a German shepherd there. They're acting, the SA are kind of acting as the police. Now, when Hitler comes to power in 1933, the SA numbered over 2 million men. Over 2 million Germans belonged to the SA. That made the SA over 20 times larger than the German army. Remember, in 1933, the German army is still, at least in theory, about 100,000 men. Now, there were ways they're getting around that, but basically, the army was about 100,000 men. The SA is 20 million men. Sorry, 2 million men. 2 million men, 20 times larger than the army. Now, by all appearances, if you were an outside observer commenting on Nazi Germany and you saw this brown flood of uniforms and you saw all these guys, Heil Hitler, acting like that, you would think instantly, you're an outsider, these guys are completely loyal to Hitler. They are completely loyal to Hitler. They are completely dedicated to the NSDAP and its plans for Germany. But the reality is, many within the SA are at odds with Hitler, are at odds with the Nazi Party as a party. And we'll see why that is. Now, as we know, the SA, it's obviously a right-wing nationalist organization. In many ways, it's kind of the inheritor, the successor to the Free Corps that emerged after World War I. And as we know, because they're right-wing, because they're extreme nationalists, they hate the communists, right? They hate the communists. They go after communists. Except, of course, after Hitler comes to power, many former communists actually join the brown shirts. In fact, there was a joke that they would call these people beefsteak communists. Beefsteak Nazis. Beefsteak Nazis. They're brown on the outside, but you cut them open, they're red on the inside. Okay? Beefsteak Nazis. The SA, they actually, just as much as they hate the communists, they kind of hate traditional German conservatives. They don't have any love for traditional German conservatives, for the Junker class, for aristocrats, the elites, landowners. They don't have any love for them. And now remember, when the fascists, when the Nazis come to power, they're coming to power through making alliances with traditional conservatives, right, out of fear of the communists. So a lot of the SA, they're kind of bugged about that. Why are we bothering to accommodate these conservatives? Let's just take the government. Why are we putting up with Hindenburg as president? Let's just march into the president's office, put a gun to his head, and say, Hitler is now the supreme leader of the country. And they can't figure out why Hitler is paying deference to Hindenburg. They can't figure out why Hitler's kind of courting these upper middle classes and these conservatives. So they're not happy about that. Further, after the Beer Hall Putsch and after Hitler's time in jail, remember, he commits himself to attaining power through democratic means. Right? After the Beer Hall Putsch, and he does, right? He sticks to that. He doesn't launch another revolution. The SA doesn't understand that. Well, like I said, many of them are communists. The idea of revolution was mother's milk to them, right? So, and even the guys that had always been right-wing nationalists, they're kind of thinking the same thing. Why are we putting up with this democracy that doesn't work, that's just screwing people over. We just need a revolution. We just need to sweep out the bums. So prior to Hitler coming to power, they wanted a revolution, and then even after Hitler gets into power, they want a revolution. They want to get rid of the conservatives. The problems with the SA go back several years. Now, remember, like Ernst Röhm had left Germany for quite a while. And while he was gone, the SA again appeared to be loyal to Hitler. But even then, there were problems. In 1930, the year 1930, this is again before Hitler comes to power in 1933, the leader of the Berlin SA, was a guy named Walter Stennes. Walter Stennes. And he leads a revolt of the SA against the Nazi Party for the reasons I've mentioned. He can't figure out, why are we sucking up to these conservatives, middle-class people? Why are we doing that? Why aren't we just having a revolution of the right? He's upset at Hitler's insistence on a legal democratic path to power. He's upset by that. He wants to overthrow the Weimar government, and that way will bring the NSDAP to power, through a revolution. Not only that, there's other things going on here as well. Now, just because you're in the SA does not necessarily mean you belong to the Nazi Party. You could be in the SA and not necessarily be a member of the Nazi Party. Now, all the leading guys, all the leadership of the SA belong to the Nazi Party. But the rank and file, you don't necessarily have to join the Nazi Party. You support the Nazi Party, obviously, with your actions, if nothing else. But a lot of people join the SA because it's, by this point, by the time they're in power, or, as they're trying to retain power, you could get paid. There were some prospects for, it was kind of like a job, not like a full-time job, because the party's not that powerful, but you could get something. And not only can you get something, you can break a few heads, and guess what? When you beat up those commies or those social democrats and they're lying there, you can go through their pockets. You know, there's opportunities, and not only that, there's opportunities to intimidate people, to blackmail people. So there's opportunities to make a little bit of money here, right? At a time when you can't really get jobs, right? Jobs aren't there. But a number of these people in the SA here, in the Berlin SA, they wanted more. They wanted party jobs. A lot of the leadership of the SA in Berlin want party jobs. And the party kind of can't accommodate them. Again, the party's still struggling for funds. They can't really do it. And there's a perception by a lot of leaders of the party that the SA, these guys are not the brightest guys. They're there for their muscle, not their brains. So they're not getting a lot of these party jobs. They're not getting these good jobs. And again, Hitler and the Nazis, when these elections come up, they're just, what money they have, they're just plowing through this money to win these elections. The SA is thinking, we need to take care of our guys. We need the money to go here. So they're upset that they're not getting paid enough. They're not getting the jobs they want, and they're upset that their whole perception is, let's have a revolution, we get into power, and then we're all taken care of. Then everything's cool, right? Well, so Stennes, first off, he approaches the head of the party in Berlin, Joseph Goebbels. And he says, we want more. And he says, right now, at a minimum, we want 3 SA men to get seats in the Reichstag. We want 3 seats in the Reichstag, meaning we want you to fire NSDAP members who are already in there, and we want you to put in 3 of our guys. Again, in this parliamentary system, you don't necessarily vote for individual people. You vote for the party, and then the party can decide who they're putting in there. So they're saying, we want 3 SA men here in the Reichstag, we want better pay, and we want more say in formulating policy. We want our voices heard in the party as a whole. Goebbels who is very conscious of the party's finances, he says, no, we can't do it. Maybe in the future we can do stuff like this, but we can't do it now. Hitler backs him up. Hitler backs up Goebbels against the SA here. Now, you'll remember, what other organization is subordinated to the SA? The SS. The SS. Goebbels is able to convince the SS to remain loyal, even though the SA is starting to talk like it's got these problems here. When Goebbels tells the SA no, they get pissed off, and under Stennes, these SA leaders go into the party headquarters in Berlin and they vandalize it. They just steal whatever they can, they destroy stuff, and they beat up a number of party members. Some, like Goebbels and stuff, were able to get out, they got protection. But generally, this is a major crisis, and it doesn't look good for the party, right? Politically, this is a disaster. So Hitler, of course, in Munich at the time, he flies to Berlin, and he says, okay, here's what's going to happen. From now on, I am the commander of the SA. Now remember, previously, years earlier, Röhm had been the head of the SA, but then he'd left, and now they've just kind of been the various district leaders like Stennes. And now Hitler is saying, I am the supreme leader of the SA. Because many of the guys in the SA, they didn't like the party bureaucrats, but they liked Hitler. A lot of them, anyway. So he's saying, I will take over. I will be the leader of the SA. He agrees that he will increase their pay. He agrees that the SA men will get better pay. And he also says that the party will underwrite any legal expenses if any of these guys are brought to trial, which happen frequently, right? Because they're always involved in these things, they're always arrested. He's saying the party will essentially underwrite your defense if you go on trial. This cools it down. The SA backs down and they say, okay, that's good. They can accept that. Okay, so now again, that's 1930, 1931, before the party comes to power.